All right, I feel like it is my moral obligation to make this video. Basically, I've been seeing a lot of these YouTube videos titled something like How I Grew to 10,000 Subscribers in 7 Days. Now, if you did that, that's awesome. I'm super happy for you. But I think what it does for a lot of people, especially people that are new on YouTube, it kind of sets their expectations very, very high. That's like saying I became a bodybuilder in 6 weeks. Like, it's just maybe that could happen. I mean, you're probably using steroids at that point, but it probably won't happen. So in this video, I want to do something a little bit differently. I want to take you kind of through the journey of me helping this channel grow from 0 to 60,000 subscribers, but show you realistically what it actually looks like. So I've got my notes over here. I want to stay on track, but I want to break this video down into 3 main lessons that I wish I would have known, so it could have got us a little bit faster. So number 1 is volume beats perfection. Now, this is absolutely true for anyone who's starting and brand new on YouTube. A little bit about my backstory is it actually took me 8 years of thinking about having a YouTube channel to actually starting that YouTube channel. And I'm sure if you have been watching videos on YouTube about starting a YouTube channel, you might be in a similar place where maybe you didn't wait 8 years, but you've been thinking about having a YouTube channel for quite a while. And most people, they're just afraid to make that first video. So they try to do everything else. They try to get all the equipment. They try to find the best strategies. They do everything in the world except actually making that first video. Look, I get it. I was in the exact same place. So I'm not attacking you. Don't feel attacked, please. But there's one thing that I finally did that got me over that hurdle and made every other video easier. And that's that I made my first bad video. Now, that might sound totally counterintuitive, like why am I going to make a bad video? But for me, I had this idea in my head that making a YouTube video was like this monumental thing because I had seen the Mr. Beasts, I had seen the Alex Hormozies that, spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on their content. I'm like, look, for me to make something even remotely close, this is going to be an incredible undertaking. So, because of that, I ended up making no videos at all. So to finally get through that, I said, let me lower my expectations. Let me make a bad video. So I did it. I published it. And then every video after that has been so much easier. And then for the channel that I was running, it wasn't a matter of, hey, we're kind of afraid to start the channel, but we had to start even if we didn't have the perfect strategy. And absolutely, I do think that volume beats perfection every time because the goal when you're just starting on YouTube is just to get content out there. You could spend all the time strategizing, picking the perfect strategy, but what would be much more helpful is just getting videos out there. Now, number 2 is if you don't have a system, you're going to burn out and you're never going to be able to actually keep that cadence. So I luckily was able to work with a team where I was kind of the main guy doing the strategy, titles, thumbnails, editing, all that kind of stuff, but I didn't actually have to worry about making the content side of it. But what I quickly realized is if we're working on one video at a time, it can take a lot. Like I had one video where I think I took 6 or 7 hours to actually edit the video. The video ended up getting 87 views, which was, again, a little depressing. But I realized that we needed a system if we wanted to upload every single week. So I actually started dialing it in. Like, okay, what are our titles going to look like? What are our thumbnails? Can we create a template that we use and just tweak it a little bit? And then for the editing, I didn't give myself 6 hours to edit these videos. I'm like, okay, we need to cut this down and gave myself a specific time that I can actually edit these videos. And if you are starting on YouTube, you probably go from uploading one video to, hey, if I want to do this consistently, especially if you're busy, if you have a 9 to 5, if you're running a business, the only way that you're going to be able to do it consistently is if you have a systems. So I would encourage you to do that. Be thinking about how can you systemize the process and make it as frictionless to go from idea to published video. Now, we were doing that for quite a while, where we were uploading every single week, and we were getting okay results. Like, I think it took us 450 days to go from 0 to 10,000 subscribers. Like, over a year and a half of, hey, we're getting a little bit better, we're uploading every single week consistently. But there was a big change that made us go from, instead of it taking 450 days to get 10,000 subscribers, it took us 40 days to go from 10,000 to 20,000 subscribers once we understood this next thing. And that is that oftentimes you need to work smarter and not harder. Now, I know that is entirely cliche, but let me explain a little bit. So basically what we had been doing is we had a topic in mind and we're like, okay, because this was for my church. We're like, okay, This is the sermon for this week. This is the content. How can we take this content and then make it a little bit more attractive, a little bit more clickable for the YouTube platform? And then we'll structure a little bit, make it a little bit shorter. Instead of a 30-minute sermon, maybe we're going to make an 8-minute video. And that worked for a while. But again, some of these videos were taking us 10 plus hours to actually produce, and they were getting max. Like, we had a video that hit 500 views, and we're like, okay, we've made it. Like, we have made it. We finally understand YouTube, 500 views. But now, again, we've generated 14 million long form views and made almost $60,000 from YouTube AdSense. And it's because we realize that there's a couple things that you can really focus on that actually moves the lever in terms of what will grow you on YouTube. And that entirely is your idea, your title, and your thumbnail. So we started focusing on that, and not only just taking the topics that we had and like, hey, what do I want to make as far as content goes today? But then we started looking at other people in our niche, our competitors, the people that are making similar content to us. And then I started reverse engineering what they were actually doing. Because I'm like, look, we don't have subscribers, we don't have views. Obviously, what we're doing is not working. But these guys, they have not only subscribers, but they also have views. So I basically went on a mission to reverse engineer what they were doing, where I spent time watching their videos, looking at the exact titles and the title structures, what they put in their thumbnails. I was looking at their intros, how long they were, what kind of things they were saying, exactly the video structure. So I created an exact plan of, okay, if I was going to make a video like this guy who's getting a lot of views, what would I actually do? And then I compared that to the way that we were doing things. I'm like, these are quite different, and maybe that is our problem. So what I did, and I think this is a great step to start with, is obviously you don't want to just steal people's content. But what you can do is see what's working, look at the kind of best practices, and then reverse engineer those and use them in your own content. So when we started doing those two things, where we were looking at the competition, kind of modeling what works, and then we spent more time on the idea, title, and thumbnail, everything changed. Where then we had 2 videos basically back to back. They got 100,000 views. We now have, I think, over 15 videos that have at least 100,000 views. Our top video is 2.8 million views. And it was basically a rinse and repeat process of finding content that works and then seeing, okay, what is the kind of core idea here? What's the title, the thumbnail? And then reverse engineering that and making content, still talking about the things that we want to talk about, but we're saying, hey, what are people already interested in? What are they already clicking on? And how can we use that as a jumping off point to talk about the things that we want to talk about? So that's kind of been our journey so far on YouTube. We're still learning, we're still growing, we're still doing all those kinds of things. But I do want to reiterate that if you're starting out on YouTube, start with just volume, just get videos out there, then get better, and then get smart. Because where most people stop and where most people fail is because they have these unrealistic expectations of, if I just make YouTube videos for a month and a half, I'm going to get 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to get rich and famous, and finally retire from my 9-to-5. And unfortunately, that's almost never the case. Like, it took us years of me learning this and then implementing on this channel where we were able to get that growth. But start small, start today, and see where YouTube takes you. So I hope that was helpful, and I will see you next time.